What if I told you that one of the most important parts of your day may be the first hour after you wake up? Not because you need an intense workout or an expensive supplement, but because those first few minutes can set the tone for how you move, eat, hydrate, and feel for the rest of the day. And after 60, a few simple morning habits may become especially valuable for protecting your strength and independence. Think about someone who wakes up, stays in bed for another 30 minutes, skips water, grabs a quick pastry with coffee, and spends the morning sitting. Nothing seems wrong with that routine. But repeated every day, it can mean very little movement, poor nutrition, and fewer opportunities to maintain strength. Now imagine starting the same morning differently with hydration, light movement, protein, and a few minutes of balance work. The difference may be surprisingly meaningful. As we get older, maintaining independence becomes about much more than simply avoiding illness. It's about being able to get out of a chair without struggling, walk confidently, carry groceries, climb a few steps, and continue doing the things you enjoy. That's why today's routine focuses on practical habits that fit into ordinary mornings. You don't need to become an athlete. You need a routine you can actually repeat. Your body doesn't go from sleeping to fully active the instant your alarm rings. Your muscles, joints, circulation, nervous system, hydration status, and alertness all transition from rest into daytime activity. Think of your morning like warming up an engine. You don't necessarily need to push it hard immediately. You want to gradually wake the system up. And that's exactly what these 5 habits are designed to help you do. Now, an important point before we begin. These habits aren't a guarantee that you will prevent every age-related problem, and they're not a replacement for medical treatment. Your individual needs depend on your health, medications, mobility, nutrition, and activity level. But for many generally healthy older adults, small daily behaviors can support a more active lifestyle. And the biggest mistake is often not doing something wrong. It's believing that small habits don't matter. Habit number 1 is simple. Make hydration part of your morning. During sleep, you go several hours without drinking. You also lose water naturally through breathing and other normal processes. And some older adults may not experience thirst as strongly as they once did. That doesn't mean you should force down a giant bottle of water the moment you wake up. It simply means starting your day with reasonable hydration can be a useful routine. Here's why this matters for your morning. When you're dehydrated, you may feel tired, uncomfortable, or simply not at your best. Water also plays an essential role in normal circulation, digestion, temperature regulation, and many other body functions. Think of your first glass as a signal that the overnight fast is ending and your daytime routine is beginning. Keep water somewhere convenient, such as beside your bed or in the kitchen, so you don't have to remember it from scratch every morning. But here's the mistake I want you to avoid. Assuming more water is always better. You don't need to challenge yourself to drink enormous amounts at once. If you have heart, kidney, or other conditions that require fluid restrictions, your doctor's instructions come first. For everyone else, focus on consistency rather than volume competitions. A glass of water after waking, followed by normal hydration throughout the day, is a much more practical goal than forcing yourself to drink several liters before breakfast. Here's an easy morning setup. Before going to sleep, place a clean glass or bottle where you'll see it in the morning. When you wake, sit up slowly, get your bearings, and drink a comfortable amount. Then continue with your normal routine. That tiny environmental change removes one decision from your morning. And when a healthy behavior becomes automatic, you don't have to rely on motivation to remember it. Habit number 2 is gentle movement. One of the easiest ways to make your morning more active is simply to stop going from bed directly into hours of sitting. You don't need jumping jacks or a 20-minute workout. Start with basic movements that your body can handle comfortably. Sit upright, move your ankles, roll your shoulders, gently straighten your legs, and take a few controlled steps around the room. The goal is not to burn hundreds of calories. The goal is to tell your body, the day has started, and we're going to move. Your joints, muscles, and nervous system all participate in movement. Regular physical activity is one of the most important foundations of healthy aging, and even small amounts of movement are preferable to remaining completely sedentary. The key is finding movements that are appropriate for your abilities and repeating them consistently. Here's one movement that reveals why strength matters so much. Sit in a sturdy chair. Place your feet firmly on the floor. Lean forward slightly and stand up under control. Then sit back down slowly. That's a chair stand. It looks incredibly simple, but the movement requires your legs, hips, core, balance, and coordination to work together. If you're able to perform it safely, a few controlled repetitions can become part of your morning movement routine. But don't turn this into a challenge against yourself. If you have significant balance problems, severe joint limitations, dizziness, recent surgery, or an exercise restriction, get professional guidance first. Use a stable chair, clear the floor, and avoid grabbing something unstable for support. And never ignore warning symptoms such as chest pain, unusual shortness of breath, fainting, or severe dizziness. The goal is to build confidence, not create an accident. Habit number 3 is one many people overlook because it doesn't feel like exercise or nutrition. Get some morning light. Your brain uses light as one of its most important environmental signals for regulating the circadian rhythm, your internal timing system. Morning light helps your brain recognize that daytime has arrived, and that timing can influence your sleep-wake cycle later in the evening. Now picture 2 different mornings. One person wakes up, closes the curtains, turns on a television, and spends the next 2 hours indoors. Another opens the curtains, gets dressed, and spends some time outside in natural daylight. These 2 people aren't receiving the same environmental signals. Modern homes can be comfortable, but indoor lighting is often much dimmer than outdoor daylight. That's one reason stepping outside can be a surprisingly useful morning habit. And here's where you can combine 2 habits. Instead of simply standing outside for a few minutes, take an easy morning walk if you're able. You get natural light, gentle movement, fresh air, and a reason to start your day actively. You don't have to walk for an hour. Even a short, comfortable walk can turn your morning into a consistent health routine. If walking outdoors isn't safe or practical, opening curtains and spending time in a brighter environment can still be part of your routine. One important safety point: never stare directly at the sun. You don't need to. Normal outdoor daylight is enough to provide environmental light. And if you have an eye condition or take medication that makes you unusually sensitive to light, ask your healthcare professional what is appropriate. The goal isn't extreme exposure. It's simply giving your body a clear daytime signal as part of a healthy morning schedule. Habit number 4 is breakfast, but with an important qualification. Not everyone needs to eat immediately after waking, and some people follow different eating schedules. The bigger idea is what your first substantial meal contains. As we age, maintaining muscle becomes increasingly important, and adequate dietary protein is one part of supporting muscle health. Instead of making breakfast mostly about sugar and refined carbohydrates, think about building it around nutrient-dense foods. For example, you might choose eggs with vegetables and whole grain toast, or plain yogurt with fruit, nuts, and oats. Another option could be cottage cheese with fruit and whole grain bread. The exact meal depends on your dietary needs and preferences. What matters is the pattern. Include a useful protein source, add nutrient-rich foods, and avoid turning every morning into a high-sugar meal that leaves you hungry again soon afterward. Here's a common trap. Someone drinks a large sweetened coffee, eats a pastry, and believes they've had breakfast. They may have consumed plenty of calories, but not necessarily the nutritional balance their body needs. And if breakfast leaves you hungry shortly afterward, you may find yourself snacking repeatedly throughout the morning. A more balanced meal can make it easier to build a sensible eating pattern. If you have diabetes, kidney disease, or another condition requiring specific dietary choices, personalize this with your healthcare professional. You can make this much easier by creating 2 or 3 default breakfasts. You don't need to reinvent your meal every morning. Maybe Monday means eggs and whole grain toast. Tuesday means yogurt, berries, and nuts. Wednesday means oatmeal with a protein-rich side. When healthy choices are already planned, you're less likely to make decisions while you're tired and hungry. Good routines reduce decision fatigue. And now we come to habit number 5, and this may be the most important one for independence. Include a few minutes of strength and balance work. Walking is excellent, but walking alone doesn't necessarily challenge every movement pattern you need in daily life. Getting out of a chair, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, reaching overhead, and maintaining balance all require different physical abilities. One simple option is repeated chair stands if they're safe for you. Another might be heel raises while holding a stable support. You could also practice standing with good posture while gently moving through controlled ranges of motion. These aren't glamorous exercises, but that's exactly the point. Your goal isn't to impress anyone at the gym. Your goal is to make everyday movements feel easier and more confident. Balance deserves special attention because losing confidence can cause people to move less. And moving less can contribute to further weakness. If you're practicing balance, start with safety. Stand near a sturdy counter or support, keep the floor clear, and consider having someone nearby if you need assistance. Even simple controlled weight shifts can help you become more aware of how your body moves. Never practice challenging balance exercises somewhere you could easily fall. Here's the bigger picture. Strength isn't just about lifting weights. Strength is what lets you rise from your favorite chair. Balance is what helps you turn safely. Leg power helps you climb stairs. Upper body strength helps you carry a grocery bag. Your morning routine should ultimately support the life you want to keep living. That's why these exercises are not about looking younger. They're about staying capable. Now let's put everything together into a simple routine. Imagine tomorrow morning. You wake up and don't immediately reach for your phone. You sit up carefully, get your bearings, and drink some water if appropriate for you. Then you stand, move your ankles and shoulders, and take a few easy steps. You've already started the day differently, and you haven't even been awake for 5 minutes. Next, open the curtains and get some natural daylight. If you're able to walk safely, step outside for a short, comfortable walk. Don't worry about speed. Don't worry about distance. Think consistency. You are giving your body daytime light while gently moving your muscles. For someone who spends most of the morning sitting indoors, this small change can completely transform the beginning of the day. Then, when you're ready for your first substantial meal, choose a balanced option that fits your needs. Include a protein source and nutrient-rich foods. Drink according to your normal hydration needs. And if you take medications that need to be taken with food or at a specific time, follow your doctor's instructions rather than copying someone else's routine. Your morning routine should support your medical plan, not compete with it. Finally, if it's appropriate for your ability level, spend a few minutes on strength or balance work. You might perform controlled chair stands, heel raises, or another exercise recommended for you. That's it. You don't need a 2-hour workout. You need a routine you can repeat tomorrow, the day after that, and next month. Consistency is what turns a small behavior into a lifestyle. But before you leave, I want to give you 5 morning mistakes to watch for. Mistake number 1. Staying completely inactive for hours after waking. You don't need to exercise immediately, but breaking up long periods of sitting with appropriate movement can be a useful habit. Mistake number 2. Starting the day with almost no fluids when you have no medical reason to restrict them. Make reasonable hydration part of your routine instead of waiting until you're extremely thirsty. Mistake number 3 is spending the entire morning in darkness. Your body clock benefits from clear daytime signals. Mistake number 4 is making every breakfast primarily about refined carbohydrates and added sugar. A nutrient-dense meal with adequate protein may better support your overall dietary pattern. And remember, breakfast doesn't have to be complicated. Simple, repeatable meals often work better than elaborate plans you'll abandon after 3 days. Mistake number 5 is treating balance and strength as something you only need after you become weak. That's backwards. You want to maintain your physical abilities before everyday tasks become difficult. And one more mistake deserves attention: trying to copy an exercise routine designed for someone 20 years younger. Your best routine is the one that matches your current abilities and can be performed safely and consistently. Imagine a 68-year-old woman who gradually stopped taking her morning walk because she felt slower than she used to. Then she stopped doing simple exercises because she thought they weren't worth the effort. Months passed. She became more cautious with stairs and started asking her family for help carrying things. Nothing dramatic happened overnight. Her independence simply became smaller, one decision at a time. This is why small daily movement matters. Now imagine she begins again, but differently. She starts with 5 minutes of movement in the morning. She gets outside for daylight. She practices a few safe chair stands and gradually adds more activity as her confidence improves. She isn't trying to become 30 again. She's trying to become stronger than she was last month. That's a much more realistic goal. And that mindset can make healthy aging feel achievable rather than overwhelming. If you're over 60 and you've been less active than you want, don't assume you've missed your chance. Your current routine is not a permanent sentence. You can make changes gradually. You can improve your environment. You can develop better habits. And with appropriate exercise and nutrition, many older adults can continue working on strength, mobility, balance, and physical function. The key is starting at the level your body can safely handle. Remember this, independence isn't protected by one giant decision. It's protected by hundreds of small decisions repeated over time. The glass of water, the morning light, the first few steps, the balanced meal, the chair stand. None of these looks impressive by itself. But together, they create a lifestyle that tells your body, day after day, that movement and capability still matter. So let's make this incredibly simple. After 60, consider starting your morning with 5 things. Reasonable hydration, gentle movement, morning daylight, a nutrient-dense first meal that fits your routine, and a few minutes of appropriate strength or balance work. You don't have to do everything perfectly. You don't have to finish it in 30 minutes. The goal is to create a repeatable morning that supports the way you want to live. Tomorrow morning, don't try to change your entire life. Just do this. Wake up at your normal time. Sit up carefully. Hydrate if appropriate. Move gently for a few minutes. Get some natural daylight. Eat a balanced meal when it fits your routine. Then perform a few safe strength or balance movements. That's your starting point. Once that becomes automatic, you can gradually build from there. And now I want to hear from you. Which part of your morning routine needs the most improvement? Hydration, movement, sunlight, nutrition, or strength and balance? Tell me in the comments. And if you know someone over 60 who wants to stay strong and independent for as long as possible, share this video with them. One small habit can be easier to start when someone else is doing it with you. Getting older doesn't mean giving up the things that make life enjoyable. It means becoming more intentional about protecting the abilities that allow you to enjoy them. The goal isn't to look younger. The goal is to keep walking, standing, carrying, reaching, traveling, playing with your grandchildren, and living your daily life with confidence. Start small tomorrow morning. Your future self may be grateful that you did. This video is for general educational purposes and is not a substitute for personalized medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you have heart disease, significant balance problems, severe joint pain, diabetes, kidney disease, fluid restrictions, recent surgery, or another medical condition, discuss changes to your exercise, hydration, or nutrition routine with your healthcare professional. Stop exercise if you develop concerning symptoms and seek appropriate medical care. Your safest routine is the one designed for your individual health and abilities.